everybody. Welcome back to another podcast with Sales Guys Unlimited Sales Growth. Fred here alongside Kevin.
Yep.
A very exciting day today, which we're going to cover. We feel is one of the probably really the most important step in the sales process. But first things first, if you guys have any questions, as you see below, you can always email us at salesguys.unlimitedgrowth@gmail.com. And then if you guys could jump over to our Instagram, as you see here below too, you can follow us at salesguys_unlimitedgrowth and really ask us kind of any questions. We'll have some daily posts on there and things like that. And then also you can subscribe here to our YouTube channel. Great way to always kind of catch up on past episodes and things of that nature. So Kevin, if you want to kind of kick it off, how important the step is today.
Absolutely.
Want to jump in there?
Yeah, I've been salivating about this episode for quite a while now. Critical step. As I asked you guys last week, please carve out the time to just set aside the opportunity to watch this video. Truly. Again, all the steps have their place, but if I had to place an emphasis and a priority on it, I would definitely say the needs assessment. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, this is really what's going to set you up to be successful. If you don't do this correctly, if you don't do this step, then
Sure.
you might as well just pack your bags and
Yeah.
head on out.
Yep, very true. So what we want to touch on today is really the why, the when, the who, the how. So just each one of those so critical. What we're going to do is kind of highlight each portion of that, and then also drive some examples of those, to really emphasize exactly what it is we do. So again, let's talk about the why. What are we doing it? Why are we asking those questions? So ultimately, we're looking to gather a prospect's information to aid in selection of either a product or service. Okay, and then that could be pertinent more towards us, where it's a home improvement field, or maybe it's an agency owner looking to assist with a website or some search engine optimization or something along that line.
Multiple fields. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So the value add, if you will, is to really aid in overcoming any objections that arise if you don't do this process properly. So it just gives that client the opportunity to say, well, you didn't ask me that question, and now maybe there's another solution or another offering that you have that might help me better because you didn't gain that information at the onset. And again, to piggyback on our last week's episode, it should be a very seamless, smooth transition from the rapport building going right into the needs assessment. You've broken down those walls, as Fred likes to say. As I like to say, you've built up the trust. You're really establishing a nice friendship with the client or the homeowner, as it is for us. And again, ultimately, we look at it as closing escape hatches, as one of our former mentors would say. We are not allowing them to give us reasons outside of what they've told us at the needs assessment to create an objection later on down in the sales process. And again, that's something else we'll touch on. So Fred, if you want to discuss maybe some things as when you're doing that, what does it sound like? How do we get started with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So really the keys to it, examples I use are, we'll kind of touch on, whether it be going to a doctor's office,
Sure.
or kind of the best analogy is like a lawyer in the courtroom.
Okay.
As you're, we leading the witness per se. So all the information that you're going to guide, that you're going to get during this needs assessment is really what's going to guide them and you not only to the right product and resources for whether it be an installation or again, whatever field you might be in.
Sure.
But you're asking questions that kind of you already know the answer to. Same thing when lawyers cross-examine, he doesn't. Ask a question that he doesn't already know kind of the answer to.
Sure.
You want to have open-ended questions, obviously, to
Right.
People love to talk, and once you get them talking about their project, they're going to open up to you. So whether it be, if we use Windows, as an example, what do you like about your current Windows?
Right.
What don't you like about your current Windows?
I think that's almost more impactful. I'm sick of this drafty window. I'm sick of open and close it. My wife can't clean it. I can't, put the air conditioning unit in. I'm sick and tired of it. And all those, different sales professionals might call it, more pain points. We're looking at that. So you better believe that when we get that information, and I'm going to write it down, and this is key, to take away this little nugget here, you want to have exact verbatim dialogue from that customer. So when he comes back and you read to him, Mr. Jones, earlier you told me I am so sick of putting this darn AC unit in. This is going to fix it because we've got a product that's going to, assist you with that. Absolutely. And when you utilize their words, and it's not against them, it's just to confirm their feelings and beliefs on the product, that is very, very powerful. Yes. Absolutely. Yep.
So, those key things, again, Windows, what do you like, and then also tying in your company, that obviously the features and the benefits of doing business, that when you do what we call a masterful presentation, it just ties in, again, everything they confirm. So I didn't like my Windows because, they fall down on me and the locks don't work.
Right.
I didn't like the color, particular colors of the windows or feature benefits. I'm going to be in the home for this amount of time, so I want to go with the most energy efficient products that are out there.
Right.
So just kind of key things as you're going along that you're asking the customer. And like you said, always write it down because it shows the customer too that you're paying attention to detail.
Sure. Yeah. Can I interrupt there for a second? I think this is a very valuable point, and what I want to discuss is I would almost say ask for permission to take notes, so they're not just thinking sort of you're aimlessly doodling there, but but you really are listening. I want to capture all the information you have, and is it okay with you that I take some notes as we discuss that? So I just think that's a really powerful thing. Almost, again, asking for their permission, just the same way you would call them if you were running a few minutes late. You'd say, I really respect your time, and something came up. So as long as you're showing them that you are very considerate, genuine, and really in tune with what they're looking to do. So sorry, I just get a little passionate about that stuff.
That's part of what makes us good, to, jumping in and back and forth.
Yep.
And again, it's tying everything into when you do, ultimately next week too, another great, episode that we'll have is, really the presentation that kind of ties everything together, your rapport building, and then this, Mr. and Mrs. Jones or Tom or, Nancy, whoever, was there, as you're showing them the products, again, going back to your needs assessment, this is the feature and benefit of these particular vinyl windows.
Sure.
You remember, as you said earlier, you hated that, your windows were always, falling down on locks, then you're tying it into that, or, they wanted a full screen versus a half screen, and you're showing them that, tying it back in. So you listen, you pay attention. So ultimately, when it comes down to, our favorite step, which is actually closing and locking up the deal.
Of course.
There shouldn't, if you do all these steps correct, especially the needs assessment and then the presentation, there really shouldn't be any objections at that time, because you're step by step confirming everything they wanted in the needs assessment, and then tying it into the product. It's just so powerful that sometimes customers, let's call it what it is, but they maybe they just won't say lie, or don't, we've had those sales where it's gone in, and maybe they just wanted to get a quote, and maybe they're really not looking to purchase product. But that, those are also keys to the needs assessment too.
Sure.
Where, maybe you could weed that type of stuff out. As I said earlier, leading the witness, again, so once you do that needs assessment and you're going through, this is why I chose this product for you based on what you said earlier.
Correct.
And in some objection you might get, it's, with sales guys is, it's not, you weren't lying to me, we don't go back to that. It's, I know you were sincere, about what you said earlier to me. Again, tying that in, bringing everything around full circle.
Right.
And then also, everything we do everyday basis, like you go to a doctor. So you get to the doctor's office, you check in, obviously.
The inpatient chart.
You fill out the chart, what's happening, you go in to see the doctor, I'm having pain with this. He asks you, 4 or 5 questions, and then you have this symptom, that symptom, I'm going to prescribe you this.
Right.
And what's funny on the sales end of it is customers kind of saying, no, or maybe they object. When you're in the doctor's office, most people, there's no objection. I think, I think you should have prescribed me with, this pill instead of that one because of what? So we automatically, in that scenario, kind of just accept it. But for us salespeople, we have to work a little bit harder. Because we're not doctors, just obviously writing prescriptions with that type of stuff. So that's really why it's key. I don't know, what do you find successful on your end? When you do it, or some maybe key examples of how you work in the needs assessment and why you find it successful.
So Fred, when posing that question is a great opportunity to really expound upon what do I do? What do I find successful? So the questions that I'm trying to ask, very much an open-ended opportunity to let them have open dialogue with me. How are you or what are they telling you, and how are you putting that through your mental filter and saying, okay, you know what? I'm going to take a couple notes as we're going, and I find that this product or that product, and I'm navigating, not while they're talking, of course, but ultimately, what am I going to, make some notes on, and how do I, filter out what they're saying to then give them the best product and service.
Yep.
And then at that point, that's where I'll let them continue, and then ultimately, that sets the foundation for the masterful presentation, and then again that would get into maybe a product selection, and maybe either going out to the car to grab that sample, or brochure, literature, things like that, or go online with a lot of our digital presentations that we can offer as well.
Yeah, especially this day and age, obviously a lot of different offerings, putting picture to words, and that's one thing we'll get into with our kind of masterful presentation, as I like to call it, is the things we find successful at that, which I find are a lot of pictures or hands-on things.
Yes.
When you're just explaining stuff to people, a lot of times it's, especially they don't know anything about windows, they don't know anything about roofing. You're like, hey, the drip edge or ice damming, if you don't see what it actually looks like, again, those are things that just really tie in everything. And one thing I like, even in this step and also through the next step, when I talk with customers, I like to talk in past tense rather than present.
Wow, that's a really key takeaway. Yeah.
It takes a lot of pressure off in the sale, just the way you speak to people. So John and Mary, at some point you're definitely going to put windows on the home, or in the future, you're definitely going to put windows on the home. Anything to kind of get away from like the now. To put them in like the scenario where they're actually in.
I'm surprised you're sharing this with our followers. This is a valuable nuggets that we don't always.
Just really some again some just keys and different takeaways, and why we're really doing what we're doing to try to better our listeners, to help you guys be successful with sales or whatever industry you might be in. Because when people feel pressure, they clam up.
Yep.
My favorite line is, before I leave, watch the kind of the air go out. This guy didn't even give me a price yet. And already he's leaving, and I can think of it's setting yourself up to really be successful at the end of it. So really again, just as we're going along, obviously we had the rapport building. Go to pre-call. You had your rapport building. Now you're at the key step. Really don't forget it. Needs assessment. It's huge. Make sure you're writing down the information. Some stuff obviously you can, maybe if you mentally can keep that much information in your head, but I do find it successful writing it. Some stuff down. Some stuff you could keep up in the in the hopper, and then really the transition piece into hey, you said you wanted like this feature. This is what you're looking for. The windows. You kind of just again confirm every step, and what we call tie downs in the sale industry. So again, you're getting all those no's. There is no more no's.
Correct.
Hey, you like this. You like the screen, you wanted a product that's going to last forever, has a lifetime warranty. Here it is.
Right.
Basically, I answered all your questions, and now to the next step, which is going to be next week. Really tune into that. Is now let me show you how wonderful it is, and then also we'll get into like the company back. How we kind of obviously you're selling yourself. Right. And why they want your product at that point. Really wowing them.
Sure.
Is the biggest step with the you can never say it enough, but the masterful presentation is really key. So look for that obviously coming out. Some other things. Anything else you want to kind of add in?
Yeah, just to reaffirm that every step that we're going along in this process, you are just reaffirming the customer's belief in you, in the company that you represent, the product that you're going to offer them, and you're building trust. Again, as I said, reiterated last week, people are going to buy from people they trust. Make a friend, make a sale. That comfort factor is is the X factor. You cannot put a price on that. And you know what? When everybody comes to you and says, well, you know, either you might be more expensive than the other guy, but what you've done is you've overcome that with value. Okay, so again, as one of my mentors once said, you know, people default to price in the absence of value, and that couldn't be more of a powerful statement if I've ever heard it in sales. That should be, you know, in the Sales 101 handbook. So, you know, Fred, all great points today. But again, I think always keep in mind that building block approach. You're going back, you're starting at the pre-call. Did I set myself up for success then? Was I punctual? What, you know, are all my samples that I need there? All the information that you're setting yourself up for. The next step, when you get to the house, how are you building that rapport? Did you build rapport? That's got to be, you know, again, that's a faulty foundation if I've ever heard one. If you're not doing that, you know, and you're going right into that needs assessment, it becomes very transactional, very harsh, and they feel like they're being sold to. Exactly, right, yeah. Right. They don't want to have that open dialogue. You become this stranger coming in here looking to take their money, and you know it couldn't be further from the truth. You're there to assist them with a solution-based approach, and you know, sorry, I get a little pumped up there, but it's it's something we're really passionate about. So
moving forward, you know, through the sales, you can't skip these steps, and you know, it's sticking to it every time. You know, the great salespeople at the top, you know, in our profession, you follow the same process every time.
Right.
You know, if you don't have the rapport building, you don't need the needs assessment, then you have to go back. Right. You know, if you think you skipped, if you move on before doing these steps or before doing them in the correct order, then once it comes back, you know, you start to be fumbling and stuff and asking questions. Sure. That's why we practice what we do, and we want it to become repetitive. One of the great sales guys that I always listened to was, Rick Grasso was a very knowledgeable guy, but what he always said, would you want to be in a car with somebody that didn't know how to drive?
Sure.
You know, would you want a doctor performing surgery on you that had to think about it?
Right.
So that's why, again, we're making these videos and we're doing these things. So this stuff becomes repetitive. It flies off the tongue. You're following the process. There's never, second guessing or doubting, am I doing it correctly? Because you studied, and you train your brain and you're doing everything at the same time, going forward. So, and that's why all the videos are on YouTube. So you can, as you subscribe, you can always go back.
Yes.
Hey, did I do that when I leave a house? It's, did I skip a step? Did I miss something?
Sure.
What could I have done differently? And you really go back and analyze everything. Right. So,
and one other key takeaway I just want to bring up is customers, whether they realize it or not, they're going to give you that feedback. And I think if you have that self-reflection to go back after the call is over, whether you sold it or not, you can really tie in maybe something that you've done to one of the steps that you might have missed or shortchanged or taken a shortcut on. So I think that's so important when you do that. I'm a big guy on perspective and reflection and and feedback. So that said, you're going to gain the most candid information from the customer. They're going to give you that, and it might be priced because you didn't ask all those questions and you gave them what you thought might be the best opportunity, whether it be a service or a good. I think it's all great stuff. I love doing this. I mean, it's proof right here is that we're trying to better ourselves, and again, in transitioning that to you. So. We thank you for your support.
And also, as we go forward in the future, what we're doing right now through these videos is kind of going over the process. And then some of those videos and, a couple of months from now, hopefully some seminars locally or even live video feeds.
Yes.
We'll break down some YouTube videos with actual kind of role-playing examples.
Yeah.
So we'll revisit kind of everything, like a role-play scenario of the rapport building and the needs assessment. So, look for that too as we're kind of touching on a broad basis a little bit here.
Yep.
We're really going to dive in. But if you do have questions too, that's why our email address is there, or so on Instagram, and stuff like that too. So just keep following, keep listening as we grow with you. We appreciate it. And if you want to say anything else, just have a great day.
Yeah. Thanks for your support, and we love the journey. We hope you join us on it.
All right. Have a great sales day, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.